Okay, hello everybody. My name is Eric. I am a Cat 3 cyclist and shall remain so till the day I die. And we are at the Autobahn Omnium. I have a teammate here in the race and with me doing live commentary.
And my name is Michael, and I was a Cat 3 cyclist.
That's crazy. I can't believe anyone would go past Cat 3. Seems unwise. Anyway, we're in this, this is, I guess, it's technically a circuit race.
Yeah, they labeled it a circuit race.
Yeah, it's only an hour long. The laps are 3.5 miles, and there are no free laps and there's no pit. So I believe by definition that's a circuit race. But it basically races like a crit. It's on a race car track, the Autobahn Country Club in Joliet, Illinois. And this is my first race of the season.
It's my second one. I had been to the Tour of St. Louis the weekend before.
Yeah, so Michael, as you maybe could pick up, is on the hunt for upgrade points, and I'm just here to have a good time for the most part. I will say, this is an Omnium. There was a time trial in the morning. I did win the time trial.
Oh,
in a dramatic fashion.
Over a dramatic 0.5 seconds.
Over one Michael Bektis over here. So I'm technically the Omnium leader coming to this race. And then before the race, we had talked. We have like 5 people in this race, I think. 6, including Anne. And we had talked about our plan, and the general idea was to get Michael to a sprint finish and let him do his thing.
Yeah, I only needed the points from 4th place to be able to upgrade, so that's kind of my minimum goal from this one.
Yeah, and I think I felt like we had the personnel to make that happen for sure. So,
the personnel being Eric himself.
We have a lot of teammates here, including Lane, who's on the front, drilling it for no reason. So, yeah, we had talked and we had kind of assigned roles. Again, this is a Cat 3 race. Teamwork is aspirational more than necessary, but it's fun. And so we had talked about roles of, I was planning to be kind of in the group, just kind of chilling, and then be a lead out guy for Michael probably, and then Lane and Lee Helms, who's back there.
In the red helmet, in the blue.
We were like, you guys are kind of our breakaway crew, so, chase moves, getting moves, if the break goes and you're in it, like, that's great. And then maybe towards the end of the race, you all can be in the lead out as well and just kind of help us get to the end in good position. Again, that kind of went out the window immediately when Lane just drove the front for a minute and a half really hard. And then this guy went off the front, and we're kind of sticking to the plan here, sort of. I mean, Lane's still in the front, which is not really the plan. But we're trying. And the other factor here is very, very windy. It's, super duper windy. So that is going to play a role as well. The wind is coming from the south, roughly. And that makes this part here a big tailwind. And it's also, this is the straightest part of the course, so you get going really fast. And the other part coming back is this kind of like really nasty combination of headwind, crosswind, headwind, crosswind, over and over again. So at this point, I also abandoned the plan and jump off the front and try to chase this one lone guy down.
I think I'm just in the bunch here being like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
like, this is not what we spoke
like a
about.
ton of critical thinking going on, honestly. It's more like, I don't know. It just felt like a good opportunity. I just went with it. I've also been reminded to say that Anne is here because the 3-4 field has been combined with the women's 1-2-3-4 four field, which created a bit of an interesting dynamic for them as well. Because there was a relatively small field of, 4 people. So rather than send them out to just get shellacked by the wind for an hour, the race organizers combined them with the 3-4 and gave them a much larger peloton to try and have fun with. So at this point, okay, I get caught as the guy still up there? He
Yeah,
is.
there's one guy still dangling.
Yeah. I guess I don't really know if we knew too much about the other teams at this point of the weekend. I don't think there was anything.
I kind of had a gist on some of the guys who had been from St. Louis. I'd also raced some of these guys at Chicago Grit the season before, so I kind of knew who was maybe strong, who's a good racer or not. But yeah, I mean, most of these guys we've not raced with before.
Yeah, so a little bit of a unknown in terms of the field. I did remember, so 1 year ago exactly, I did the same race, and there was one guy who soloed the entire race, and he beat the other guy who was way overqualified to be there, who dumpstered me in the time trial and everyone else. So I just remember there was one extremely strong guy who could, win the race by himself.
And you would think there's no way we would let that happen 2 years in a row.
Well, yeah, I just remembered it happened. I said, I can't let that happen again. Spoiler, we'll see what happens. But I didn't remember. I remember he rode for a team in a white kit. I didn't remember his name or really what he looked like. So I didn't even know if he was here, which this is maybe a lesson to be learned of. You should actually look at the start list before the race, especially if there's, a specific person you're worried about. But anyway, we'll get to that. So here's some moves going. There's Anne just trucking along. Woo! She's just cruising in the middle of the pack. Very good race awareness, good skills to not get put in the wind, not spike it up when all these people are attacking off the front. I'm drifting towards the back here because I'm very tired. My heart rate is 186 right now. I did a bunch of attacking and chasing, so I'm just here to relax for a little bit, hang out at the back. Where are you, Michael? Are you remember what you're thinking at this point?
Since the plan seemed to have been immediately thrown away, I'm also feeling a little antsy. So I remember a lot of this race is me following moves for no reason, which ended up.
The reason is you wanted to be in the move.
Yeah, that's true. But as someone who typically waits for the sprint, I made myself a little nervous from doing all that work.
Yeah. Well, we all live and we learn here. So yeah, this is a kind of cross tailwind, I guess, something like that. Maybe just a straight crosswind. And I'm just trying to get my heart rate down so I can do stuff again. But we're coming to the end of lap 1, so these are very long laps. We only end up doing, I think, 7 laps in an hour, which again kind of makes sense with this being a circuit race more than a crit. But you see there's a split forming. I see this and get a little nervous because, again, a year ago at this race, the field was 20. I think this year it was 30, but 20, and it basically split into two groups of 10, and they never saw each other again. So I was a little concerned about field splits. And it's not really a breakaway when that happens. It's not a couple people who might make it to the end and then a bunch of people chasing who could probably bring it back. It's more like the 10 strongest people are up there, everyone else is back here. And if you're not in that front group, you will never see the front of the race. So yeah, I was worried about field splits. I'm kind of the heart rate back up at 189, chasing it or trying to move up to the point where I can chase it back. Because I think it's just you up there, Michael.
I actually did not know that this field split happened.
Right, and that happens. If you're in the front of a field split, suddenly you look back and no one's there, and you're like, oh. And if you're behind it, you're like, I gotta get up there.
We can see Lane drilling on the front.
So yeah, Lane is trying but dying. This guy so very kindly just does a big effort to get up there, and this is also a huge headwind right now. So I very, I would say easily, but it really was. It was pretty hard.
191.
Right up to 199. Or 191. We get up there. So now I'm like, okay, well, I'm here. Everything's fine. And I don't think anyone up here knew what happened. But you can see already there's there's a split from the split, right? So it's...
Well, I think that was caused by me just parking it on the front and not wanting to do anything.
Yeah, so this can happen with windy races like this. Like the group can just like shatter. And so again, a different guy, maybe. I think this is a different guy. Is also now just doing a big effort.
This is one of the okay guys.
So, lesson to be learned of try not to close gaps yourself if you don't have to. And I think I did a decent job here. He pulls off and like
dumps 800.
Well, it's close enough. You might as well. But then again, this is probably a lesson to be learned of maybe don't do that, because you can see like these people are like all over the road. They're not pedaling all that hard, and I'm coming up really fast, which means I probably didn't need to do 800 watts back there. But look, wait, who's that over on the left?
This is dangerous.
There's a guy in a white kit, and he's pedaling pretty fast. But I don't completely put two and two together yet. And I see this guy coming across, and like, okay, this seems like a move.
And I see this, and again, I'm just like, what is going on? Like, Eric is not supposed to be doing this.
I guess we have a pretty big gap looking at the rear camera here. See, I don't know if this is going on. I'm just paying attention to these two guys up here. But, like, again, this is the kind of thing where I'm like, okay, we're going to, like, catch them, right? Like, look how close it is. We basically caught them. Right? Right?
And look how big that gap is at the back.
Not the case. Now we're in a huge tailwind, and so fun fact about tailwind: there's basically no draft. It's just a giant watts competition. So all of a sudden, I'm doing 400, 500, 600 watts. I'm not really. I mean, I'm catching them, but it's really hard. And this guy behind me is also working super hard. My heart rate is 194 beats per minute, but we do make it. We do make it. And at this point, I feel horrible, but I also feel good, because I'm like, I think this is the move right here. We're in the breakaway now. We just have one slight problem of basically being way over my threshold heart rate and having 50 minutes left in the race. Small problem. But, I'm happy with the position. Feel good. And you might notice a couple gaps opening up to the guy in front of me.
I don't know, did the gap ever fully close?
Well, briefly, for small moments, but I'm pretty cracked here. I think just the way the lap played out of me starting way in the back, kind of coming across that one field split to the second field split, and then jumping across this breakaway. It was basically too many intense spikes in a short period of time, and I could never really like settle in and actually ride controlled in this breakaway. I was always like on the limit. I would ease off just a tad, and then I would open up like a 2 bike length gap, and I would like spike it up to get over it. And so I wasn't really riding disciplined, I guess. And I look back, and like the power data for me was like very spiky, and the numbers these guys were doing were high, but they weren't like undoable. They were doable watts for me, but I think I was just so like, let's use the word undisciplined. I was like, rocking around. I was, standing up. I was not really tucked in as arrow as I could. And you're going to see in a second here, it doesn't go so great for me up here in this breakaway. This guy, the guy in the yellow, he took, what was that pole, like 20 seconds maybe? And it's right back to the guy in the white. The guy in the black kid, the okay guy in front of me, I don't think he's taken the pole yet. I'm getting dropped. Like, just this guy in the white is an absolute monster. Just pulling like a truck. And here, like, it's like, I was doing 600 watts, I'm doing 200 watts, I'm doing 600 watts. Yo-yoing off the wheel here. So just not great riding by me. I think it all kind of comes back to the positioning much earlier in the lap, honestly. So I don't know, there's something to be learned from that. But coming around this corner here, this is like a big headwind, and then it turns into this, again, like kind of cross headwind, cross tailwind. I don't really know, maybe just a straight crosswind. I let the gap fully go because I'm like, I'm really tired. If I flick that guy through, and I'm like, I can get back on. And then I just watch them ride away. Yeah. The guy in the white he's been pulling this entire time. Like, He's single-handedly driving this breakaway and dropped me out of the wheel. I did not take a single pull. The closest I got was third wheel in the breakaway. And off they go. So
Yeah, and I think I could see this kind of happening up the road from the bunch. I'm just kind of sitting on the front, trying to do as little as possible. I say that with my heart rate at 180. But I was just trying to slow it down because I was just trying to park it for the sprint. And yeah, I saw Eric coming back, and I don't know, I was trying to do some mental gymnastics to make myself feel better about that, because I was like, either he's doing it on purpose or this brake is really strong. But I was telling myself he did it on purpose. So I actually did not think that the brake was just so insane that Eric could not stay on.
It was that insane. And so when you get dropped out of, a race, but a breakaway, you have these like moments, or at least I always have this moment of like delusion where I'm like, okay, I got dropped, but like let me just get my heart rate down a little bit, and then I will catch that. So despite the fact that I could not keep up in the draft, I think just give me 2 minutes, and then I will go faster than that by myself. Spoiler alert, that does not happen. I don't know if that's ever happened. So we come through, start, finish. I think they say my name of some Eric stats chasing. I go, oh, cool. And then I look behind me, and I see a peloton approaching very quickly, and I say, okay, I guess I'll just, this is my fate now. So is that you on the front?
Yeah, I think I come around somewhere like, is that Lane? Yeah, it's Lane and me.
Yeah, Lane and Michael.
Yeah, and I think right here I asked something along the lines of like, what do we do now? Because the plan has been thrown away and thrown away again several times. And Eric instructs us to chase, so that's what Lane and I dutifully do.
Yeah, because again, the podium is now up the road, right? And that's not good. We want to be on the podium. The podium can't be up there, and we have like 5 people in this race. So road captain Eric over here thinks we gotta just chase this back.
Yeah, and I mean, I put in a decent pull. I'm kind of hoping that everybody else in the race will do it for me, because I'm trying to wait for the sprint. But I kind of keep it like low thresholdy-ish, and then you can see me swing off and just do a whole lot of nothing, and then the chase completely breaks down.
Then I hit the front, and I try and go again. But I think also part of what I was thinking was that like that was so hard up there. I was like, I don't think this is sustainable. Just based on how hard it was for me.
Yeah, and you can actually see one of the other riders has already been shedded.
Another rider from the break gets shelled off here, and we're about to catch him.
And I kind of recognize some of those guys from previous racing, and I know the results that I've had against them, and I'm like, okay, if those guys are falling off, like I was pretty confident that they would continue to do so, and we would get hopefully most of them back.
a little communication going on in the peloton. I don't know what that guy was saying, honestly. But yeah, basically, when I see this guy coming back, I'm like, okay, I think I'm correct in that it's too hard up there. Wasn't clear to me. Lane's just sending one for some reason. It wasn't clear to me how strong the other guy, the South Chicago rider, was up there. I thought like he took a single pull, and I didn't, and I got dropped. So he seemed pretty strong to me. So I wondered if he was going to stay away the whole time as well. But at this point,
and Eric is off the front again.
I recognized that this EMC2 rider, that's the team he was on, was in fact the same boogeyman from last year who showed up, just demolished the field, and refused to elaborate. He was back to do it again, and by golly, he did. So I was kind of like, okay, well, the win is not going to happen, because kind of no matter what happens, I don't think this group of 25 people can chase back this one guy. Like, honestly, even if we were all on the same team and coordinating, I'm not sure. I'm not sure we had the fitness numbers to do it. So at this point, I'm like just kind of recalculating going into field sprint mode, with maybe again a little longer of delusion of like, let's try and chase a little bit. the tide of the race has very clearly turned.
Yeah, and I wasn't too stressed out about the win going up the road. While it's nice to win, I was there to secure the points. So if it was going to be just a field sprint for minor places, that was fine by me.
I don't think a ton happens for
I don't
a
think
while.
anything happens for the rest of the race.
Yeah, we'll pick it back up a little later. And what was going through your head 20 minutes in?
So the way that the women's race played out was basically we had an opportunity to sit in the men's field for as long as we could. And it turned out that the game was just stay with the men as long as possible, because the 4 or so women in the field kind of just got shelled out the back one by one. But if you stayed in the men's field the longest, you just had a head start on when your eventual solo run to complete the race would start. And so I've had experience racing in men's fields a couple. Oh yeah, there I am. A couple of times. This is my last lap, I'm pretty sure, right here. I think I made it like 3.5 laps. But that was longer than any of the other women in the race. I ended up lapping a couple of them. And so this did secure me the win in the women's field, even though I was like next to last in the field that we started with technically. But this was extremely hard. It was basically like, the cognitive load was through the roof. Just like I had to pay attention so hard and use my energy so smart and so specifically to move back and forth through the field to stay on the shaded side of the wind because it was such a strong wind. If I was caught out by myself on the wrong side of the field in the crosswinds or the headwind, it was extremely punishing because all of these guys have, close to 100 watts on their FTP compared to me. So I was suffering at a higher percentage of FTP than everybody else I was riding with. So that just means I had to be really smart. And this is great practice for races like Toad or Grit or other larger, faster races that I do throughout the year.
Yeah, and you can see, and we're all of our team is in this blue kit, like the Lewis right in front of me, but you can see Anne is always on the shelter side, so she's on the shelter side right now with the wind. She's not surging with everyone, she's kind of like intelligently kind of riding a steady pace and just kind of slotting in where possible. I think at this point is when I come by and tell you I've been hanging on the back for a while and there's no other women in the race, so if you could just hang on for a little while longer. You got the win locked up for the women's field, which is sick. And yeah, you do. I think I heard a little woo there. All right, yeah. So here there's a split going on. They're not riding super hard, but I'm like, one of us needs to be up there. Michael's like, I got it, boss. And off he goes, and he gets followed by Adam very closely.
Yeah, who wants to chase me for Omnium.
Yeah, those little figures up there, I believe, are getting lapped. And we're about to hit this tailwind section. So it's like people attacking, people chasing, and people getting lapped. And it just gets a little hectic.
Oh, actually, look, everyone is back.
Okay, so at this point, this South Chicago Wheelman in the yellow socks, he's the other guy who is up in the breakaway. So at this point, everyone except the EMC2 rider has been dropped, presumably by the EMC2 rider. And that makes me feel a lot better, one, about getting dropped myself, and two, about our chances to podium. Because now, instead of the whole podium being up the road, there's only one guy who we will never see again.
Yes, so our goal right now is just to keep it controlled and keep it as easy as possible for ourselves ahead of the sprint.
Yeah, and so basically don't let anyone else up the road, and yeah, keep it together for a sprint. That's basically it. So we're going to skip ahead a bit because not a ton happens. There's a lot of attacking into giant headwinds and realizing you don't want to do that. So it's a little surgy, but kind of nothing too crazy. So we're going to jump ahead towards the end of the race. Okay, so we're coming back in with one lap to go here. A whole lot of nothing has transpired. There was a little bit of chasing. I eventually got tired of trying to chase all these attacks that came back immediately, so I just didn't. And then it turns out they came back anyway. So I'm not that important after all. So with one to go here, again, these are super long laps. These are 7 or 8 minute laps. With one to go, I am thinking, okay, it's time to begin to start thinking about how we're going to execute a sprint here. Definitely don't need to be on the front or anything yet, because again, we have 8 minutes. But just kind of chatting and see who's got what we're going to do. So also the front camera has died. That's why we only have the rear camera. But the rear camera is still a good angle, as you'll see. So at some point I come up alongside good old Lane here, who's been just trucking this whole time. And I'm like, hey Lane, what do you got left? Do you feel good? He's like, yeah, I mean, maybe something. And I was like, okay, I think what you want to do is attack with I don't know, a minute to go roughly. Or maybe 90 seconds, and just come around that kind of second to last hairpin there, and just kind of be the carrot. And if you can hold it, you get to not win, but you get to get second. And if you can't hold it, then it'll be really helpful for me leading out Michael, just to have someone up the road as the carrot who other people have to chase, and we can slot in third or fourth wheel and just have a really armchair ride to the finish, as they say. And he says, yeah, sounds good. And we'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, you really have to kind of worry about, at this point, people sending their kind of last-ditch flyers. So I think everyone who doesn't want to sprint, they are, at some point in the next 4 minutes, going to go crazy, presumably. And it just becomes a matter of measuring your effort to bring back those people while still having a little bit left for the overall sprint. So at this point, I'm not super worried. I'm hanging out in the back, as you can tell, because you can see the moto. But I'm going to start moving up here. And Michael, what are you doing right now?
Yeah, I'm just trying to go as easy as possible. I mean, you see the heart rate's coming down, the power's pretty low. You can see me in shot right here wearing that.
What a stud!
That
Look
beautiful
full frame.
But yeah, I'm just trying to make smart choices on what wheels I follow. I was wondering where Eric was this whole time. I guess he was at the back. But I see his wheel. I know our plan to do the lead out. So
yeah, I think I say something of just sit on my wheel or something like that, and you're like, yep. And so we know what we're doing. Well, interesting for tomorrow. I didn't notice how closely Adam, the guy in the white and blue, was kind of marking you.
Oh
Michael.
Yeah, he was on me all weekend.
You're a known quantity. So he was playing his cards. He was here basically alone. I think he had a teammate who had doubled up from the 4-5, so was going to be struggling an hour into this race. So he was here basically alone. But yeah, so at this point, there's someone doing something, and this is what I was saying, if people are going to start sending efforts to
was that someone
sprint.
Lewis?
I don't think it was Lewis. I think Lewis was chasing. But now, we're going pretty hard here. 500-600 watts in the tailwind, just going fast. Somehow, I said tailwind means no draft, but somehow...
No, I'm having a great time.
Yeah, somehow you're having a huge draft. Again, I might be the least aero man alive. I'm beginning to believe that more and more every day. But so be it. We hit the one corner, which was giving people some fits, honestly. This corner was a little tricky.
I was struggling every time we came through. You can see I let a little bit of a gap open up.
Gaps are opening up. Again, this is the first real crit of the year for me, at least, and I was not...
And actually, I didn't realize there was a gap.
Yeah, and that wasn't anything crazy. It was just, people slow down, stop pedaling, even break into that corner a little bit, and then you go so fast that if you just get off the power for a little bit, you have a huge gap open up. So they come back, which is to be expected, I think. But now we're entering what might be in a normal race, the kind of finale, the last like 2 or 3 minutes. So now it's more about positioning. It's more about kind of staying near the front without being on the front. Because again, it's really me and Michael at this point. I am looking around a little bit, saying like, hey, I was thinking Lane could maybe do his little attack here. I don't see Lane.
Well, it has really exploded at the back.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I was just locked onto Eric's rear derailleur.
He's locked in.
Yep.
I believe at this point we've just caught the people who like really nuked it on that tailwind section.
Yes.
And so this is always a very dicey moment in a race when you catch a group off the front and slow down a lot. Because again, I don't want to be on the front. It's way too early to be on the front, but I don't want to let other people off the front. So it's this kind of game of sort of ramping up to get on people's wheels, because you have to do a lot of power. You can't really avoid it, but you just want to avoid kind of spiking it too hard and robbing whatever you've got left for the last like 60 seconds. So they're way in the background. Lane's charging hard. Spoiler alert: he does not make it up to where I was thinking he should attack. But luckily for us, we were about to watch it happen. So this guy, I believe his name's Kevin, in the zebra kit here, he does exactly what I wanted Lane to do. He's attacking right about now, and he just has basically like 2 turns to go. It's like 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes. Which is a long, very hard effort, but it's so long and so hard that a lot of the times people don't want to chase it back, and you can just kind of spike a podium that way. So it's not a bad idea at all.
Yeah, and you can see this guy actually on the factor here. I'm not too sure of his name, but I've seen him in a couple races, and I know that he's really good at sprinting. So I'm very glad that we are, in the mix with him and currently ahead of him.
Yeah, so basically, Kevin went. I bring Michael up to the front, and now I'm on the front. There's no one ahead of me except for Kevin and the EMT2 guy who finished like 2 minutes ago. And this is, to me, way too soon.
Yeah, I'm like, oh no.
I'm very nervous. I don't like this at all.
Yeah, and you can see me looking around because I'm like I know Eric can hold big power, but I'm just like, we're I don't want to say only doing 26, but someone can definitely, if they want to put in a dig, someone can definitely
Right.
go here.
And so I'm just like, at this point, I'm like, okay, last straightaway, I'm just committed to bringing back this move and keeping Michael up front. And if someone comes around me, he'll get on. It'll be fine. But this is a really great representation of drafting. So I'm on the front doing high 400s, low 500s. Michael's doing high 300s, low 400s. And that turns out a huge difference. So we come around this last corner here. I am just about cooked. I kind of stand up for a huge effort at 600 watts, flick Michael through.
Yeah, and you can see see me check the shoulders, and it's time to go. See it kick up to almost 1300.
Yeah, so he's sprinting pretty hard. We have the finish line cam here.
Oh, and there we go.
Oof,
Just on the
easy.
line.
Light work, as they say.
As they say.
From behind, it did not look like he was going to win at all, and I was super concerned, but never in doubt. So that was that race. Michael got second.
Got the points I needed.
Got the points you
for
need
that
to upgrade
so that
for
was
some
exciting. For some reason.
And we were on to the next day, which was Sunday. Anything else to say, Michael?
Like and subscribe.